Gabriel,
No.
I'm gonna put a condition at the front of this video.
Don't even bring it up.
If you can get through this whole thing without saying Castlevania in the way you do, I will pay for dinner.
Yahtsivania!
You lost your dinner.
Worth it.
Hello everyone, this is Castlevania Symphony of the Night that we're drowning out now.
Symphony of the Night.
This is one of my favourite Castlevanias and one of my favourite games.
What do you suppose because I enjoy them too, but what do you suppose, like, how much have you thought about the appeal of being able to just wander around and whack shit, and why that's kind of fun? Like,
I don't know. All I know is that after I finished Dark Souls 2, I was like, shit, now what am I going to play when I'm listening to my podcasts of an evening?
So lonely.
So I've played through Symphony of the Night, and then I went on a kind of a binge. Played through Dawn of Sorrow and Aria of Sorrow and stuff. But for drown-out purposes here, I'm going to play Symphony of the Night in Richter mode.
Push X to input. I assume you're basing this off of comedian Andy Richter?
No.
Oh.
In this mode, you play as Victor Belmont from the main plot of the game and the prologue of the game, instead of Alucard. And this just means that you get no plot. No, you don't have to switch equipment or weapons or anything. There's no menu to change your equipment. You just run around the whole castle whipping shit.
I love, that's something I've noticed about the Castlevania games in general, is there's no correlation between how big and scary the monster is and their health.
I've noticed that as well.
Like, that looks like, you could throw that thing in as a mini-boss for a first stage in most games. Like, what's that? It's a fucking colossal wolf. What happens? Whip it once, it's dead.
Yeah. Well, the whole purpose of this sequence was supposed to, illustrate how tough Alucard is.
Fair enough.
But,
when a zombie comes along, you must whip it.
Right after this bit, he's supposed to get all his equipment taken away by death. Doesn't change the fact that the wolves die in one hit, but, you're supposed to feel powerful.
Why is Death taking his equipment?
Because Death is Dracula's mate.
Oh, really?
And Alucard showed up saying, "Hey, this is my dad's castle, right? I'm gonna stop his ass." And Death says, "Nuh-uh," and all your equipment goes away.
Death, you are not allowed to be taking sides like this. That's above,
Well, Death is a strange fellow in the Castlevania universe.
Outside your fucking function. You're not meant to have, favorites.
I want everything to die. That's why I'm best friends with Immortal... Oh, wait, I haven't thought this through, have I?
Oh, nuts.
He's expanded a bit more in the Castlevania Lords of Shadow universe, where he's played by Patrick Stewart.
Neat. What's he like in that?
A bit of a twat.
Fantastic.
So, it's a bit arcane how Richter controls. You have to... The game doesn't
double
really...
tap?
Yeah, the game doesn't really tell you any of this, but you have to double tap to run. You can also do a slide like that.
Huh, Richter's my spirit animal.
And you have to press Y to do an item crash.
A what?
But I don't have any items at the moment, so he just does a little sort of pump up.
I was gonna say, that sounds very anime.
I'm one tough motherfucker. Watch out, Drac.
Okay, now you got a flaming whip. Which I saw a friend of mine do once with some kerosene. It's pretty badass.
Uh-huh. Anyway. How's your day been?
Good. Yesterday, I was on Gumtree, which is kind of just a thing you can go on to buy shit from other people.
Yeah, it's sort of like the putting
Craigslist.
furniture out on the street equivalent of the internet.
It's a bit like Craigslist, but without, the weird shit. Although there's still weird shit, but not just full tilt, come over and massage me while I jerk off to gay porn, but not in a gay way, sort of thing.
You sound like the voice of experience there.
Oh yeah. There was a few, there was this one guy, it was a picture on just Imgur, and it was one guy who had several ads on...
What did you say? Picture on what?
Imgur.
I've never heard it pronounced like that.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
I always say Imgur.
Oh, well, I don't care.
I don't know if that's right or not.
6023 is to me.
Way!
That's awesome!
I'm gonna do that again.
Slide.
Oh, wrong way.
Can you kick people with that?
I'm gonna find out. Way! Wrong. Actually, that was just the slide, wasn't it? Way!
Bone scimitar.
In your face, Mr. Boney.
Bone whore. Ah, it's Red Boner.
Red skeletons come back to life.
Damn.
I hate them.
Oh, you just switched it back on again.
What a klutz I am. Anyway, you were saying
You're a silly.
about a Gumtree man?
Yeah, so this lady was... Because I, need to buy stuff secondhand because I'm poor, and this lady was selling a exercise bike. And I decided,
I wondered what
hey.
that tweet of yours was about.
And yeah, she lived like 2 doors down from me. So I'm like, you know what would be ultra convenient? Just walking down the street and getting a exercise bike. And she was like, do you have a car? 'Cause it's kind of heavy. And it's like, no, it's okay. I'm large and stubborn. And so I just like threw it over my shoulders and carried this fucker home. And so my morning involved getting out of bed, putting myself on that, riding for about 5 minutes, and then doing some legwork.
Hey Richter, does Alucard know you're sleeping in his coffin?
That's pretty cool for a save sequence. Like,
Well, it gets pretty fucking
tedious
prolonged
after
after a few million times. That's what I liked about the later Castlevania games. They just
What's that?
bit of a frame rate
Slow
loss
down.
there. Can't think why. Must be all these flamey sprites.
That is one of my pet peeves, because emulation is not precise. I've read that the only thing that is truly emulated as SNES exactly requires huge amounts of processing power, and I don't understand how that works.
Well,
But,
you're using software to imitate
yeah,
hardware.
to imitate hardware. And there's...
It is
Like, it
quite
drives me insane that a computer that I have that can run, like, Tomb Raider and Max Payne 3 and shit on full slows down on Crazy Taxi. It just
Yes.
fucking drives me insane.
an item.
I love games like this where lives are called rest.
I think we have to accept... I don't think that's lives. I'm not sure what the hell that is.
You haven't ever played a game where rest was used in place of lives? I've seen that before. I don't know if that's what it is in this, but I've seen that before.
No, it's not lives.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Yes, I think we just have to accept in today's world that we're going to be surrounded by...
Ooh.
What's this?
Ooh!
I completely forgot about this. Not that there's going to be an item in there, because we can't have items.
Why can't you have items?
Because we don't have an
Richter just
item
don't
menu.
play that shit.
We don't have an item menu, we're Richter. Yes, I think we just have to accept that we're surrounded by things we do not understand anything about. Because if we took the time to try to understand everything in our house, we'd never get shit done, would we?
Speaking of which, Heartbleed.
Yes, we were just looking this up before recording to try and talk about it, and we realised we didn't have a fucking clue what any of it is about.
Yeah, because there are 2 types of, like, there are geeks who like, geeky shit, which I'd say would be us, and then there are nerds who understand how to work shit,
See,
and we're not them.
See, that's not the interpretation of those words I'm aware of.
Well, I mean, it's
I associate-
it's essentially meaningless. I'm just trying to illustrate that there is a difference. Like, we can't work this shit.
I associate the word nerd with having a passion for niche aspects of culture, whereas a geek I've always associated with the insult, like to denote someone of a socially awkward stature.
Nerd used to be an insult too, right? Like, there was an entire
Well-
sequence of movies made about that.
Well, yes, but I kind of prefer the word nerd. I think there's more dignity to it than the word geek.
Well, again, I don't think this discussion really matters. I
Because the
think
word
it's-
geek was a term originating in carnies. Like the carnival geek was basically
Eat the
the
chickens.
lowest rung in the carnival. His job was to bite the heads off chickens.
Usually, that was how we used to treat the mentally disabled.
Yes. Well, they might not even be
Had things
mentally
changed.
disabled. They might have just been poor and had no other skills that could be applied to the
It
carnival.
was usually where you'd get people who had some sort of developmental disability, or an actual sort of
Man,
severe chromosomal problem that you don't get these days.
we got fucking sidetracked from that Heartbleed topic, didn't we?
It's because we don't sort of like. I kind of understand. I understand it in superficially.
It's
like,
a leak of information
Yeah.
by one of the major cryptographic programs
and
used
open
by
source,
the internet.
yeah. And it's like one of the base ones, but we were reading the thing on the BBC, and someone said that it's like, hey, no, it's been like this for 2 years apparently, and no one's noticed anything so
And some
far.
people are saying the NSA were using it and not telling anyone. Like
Yeah,
the-
which wouldn't surprise me, but then they use everything, so...
just to phew on more garbage onto those guys.
And then,
The other intelligence agencies must be breathing a sigh of relief. Phew, quick, burn the entire content of this filing cabinet while everyone's going on about the NSA.
And some,
Hey,
ooh.
it's the first boss.
Oh, there's a boss.
It's Slogger and
Oh,
Guybomb.
they're fucking hurting you.
Shit.
Shit.
I'm gonna axe you
Eat
a
it.
question.
It's Ornstein and Smough.
No, it's not.
You just axed in the wrong way. Do you have any health?
I'm not used to playing Richter. I should mention. Well, I died.
And the... Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
it does that.
Okay.
Emulators.
in before. Oh my god, Yahtzee can't play this game. You think you're good at games? Gamers. Comments in YouTube.
It has been a while. Yes, what were we talking
I just love
about?
teasing this one. Well, I mean, so we've been reading this stuff from an external viewpoint of people who don't really understand it. Like, I don't really... I get the concept, but when you start getting into TSL and stuff like this is
All
just
we know
outside
at
my
this point
expertise.
is that some authoritative voices said, hey, maybe think about changing your passwords, but maybe you're not at risk.
Yeah, and that's mixed messages, guys. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I've changed some of my passwords as a precaution.
I don't... Like, should I? Like, is this because...
Well, I've been hacked before as a person in the public eye. I am at increased risk.
I got hacked once, and it just followed a bunch of people on my Twitter. I have no idea what that was meant to do or achieve. I don't...
It could have been one of them follow bot services where you pay them and they add 1 million followers to your account.
Oh,
by
well, I have
arcane
not
means.
followed or paid any motherfucker, so... Thanks, free follow bot. I feel like I've just gotten a bargain there.
Yeah, I think the essence of Richter is to use the slide more.
Slide. Okay, don't.
Or maybe not.
Ah, he picked him up. Oh, that's cunning. Alright, whatever that does hurts,
Okay,
hurts them.
the item crash works really well, it turns out. Okay, I was making that way harder than it needed to be.
Holy buggering hell. Yeah, you need to use the axe-gasm more often.
Well, it uses up a lot of hearts.
Axes!
Yeah, I've just been kind of hoarding hearts up to this point.
Yeah. Well, you don't need... Your whip seems pretty fucking brutal. You don't need to use it, I think, for regular guys, but yeah, you need... When it comes to boss time...
Hoppa again. 2 hoppas. I love these guys. Look how they die.
That's badass. I love little pixelated. I love pixelated blood.
Those guys are just overdoing it. It says, oh shit, I'm dead. Better fucking herniate every single drop of blood in my body.
They also suffered liver failure right when you hit them. So, I mean, I don't know. Someone maybe on Twitter can explain to me, like, how this might affect me, because that might be useful. Because again, the thing said it could affect routers, but then all these all these companies that, you know, make routers, like, it doesn't affect ours. So it's like, okay.
Well, it could affect, like, you know, the things at risk are like the NSA and the major public organizations.
Oh right, okay. So it's less. It might be less consumery then.
Way.
Swing batter. Okay, so yeah, that's.
Richter Liberace Belmont.
I think it's kind of interesting that apparently this thing's been, you know, around. It's been an issue for like 2 years or something, and then nobody seems to have discovered it, which is kind of interesting.
Well, that's the nature of the internet, isn't it? The nature is full of white. The internet is full of white noise. Every week we hear a new story about how some company's acting like a bunch of twats, and we just don't get outrage anymore. We just accept it now. We just go, yeah, those big companies will fuck us over every chance they get.
Well, I mean, that's
just gotta live with it.
That sort of, you know, numbness has been going around for quite a while, and I, you know, it's. What are you gonna do, you know?
Well, exactly. What are you
that
gonna
was cool.
do? Maybe it's that we don't think we can do anything because we're all up by ourselves, and we don't understand the importance of organized efforts in these things.
Yahtzee Croshaw, socialist.
Well, the internet tends to foster a sort of isolationist attitude, I feel.
Oh, and a culture of rage.
Everyone's the top of their own little tiny pyramid of Twitter and Facebook followers, at the center of their own universes.
The kids these days,
Maybe
cyberbullying. Back in my day, people used to hit me and smack me with the book I was reading.
You know, I think more games should let you hurt yourself by running full tint into walls. I only played one game that does that, and that's Little Big Adventure, and they patched that out in the next game.
I don't think
sports.
I don't think it adds anything to any game.
I just like to...
With the exception of, like, racing games, I suppose.
Just like...
I'll kill this guy again.
Hey! Every time.
Actually, the time I ripped my foreskin open.
This guy should get a job in Fallout. He could be the model for the bloody mess deaths.
I remember in Fallout 1 when they used to just, like, you know, say funny things when they died. And just ow my spleen.
Aha!
Ooh. What'd you just do?
I had a feeling Richter might have some equivalent of the double jump. Just trying to recreate what I just did.
Way to go, Yahtzee. Is it up and jump?
No. There it is.
Fucking Shoryuken. How do you do that?
It's down, up, jump. Because I think the super jump when you play Alucard is down, up, jump after you've unlocked it as well.
Alright.
So yeah, we don't know shit about internet encryption, but
Well, I think
I think it leads to the issue of is there a essential problem with the whole passport system that the internet uses?
Password or passport?
Password, I guess. Why does everything make us create accounts for things? Is there something to be said for the fully integrated system?
Yeah, but then you just got one password for someone to find out. I mean, it is an issue, and
Well, as it stands, you just gotta
use one. I use one password.
Everyone,
for my social.
yeah, everyone just uses one password for everything, right?
Well, I have it. Shit that involves money, I have a different password for. So I've got like 2 money passwords, and they're weird. Like, you're not gonna just fucking figure that out.
Yeah, my bank password is different to my usual password.
Yeah, my social media password's the same fucking password because.
See, I worry now. Everything
cares?
we're talking about is giving hackers clues. They're making little notes in their little diaries. Yeah. So
Go
uses
back
a different
over.
password for
Notice that I've used the phrase purity of essence an awful lot. That looks lame.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my axe back. Thank you. Actually, maybe we should take this and see what the item crash looks like. Boring. I like the axe-gasm better.
Well, that I don't know what that second. Maybe that second thing froze people or did something. 'Cause I'd hope it'd have a secondary effect.
Probably just generically hurts guys.
More.
I mean, there's already companies coming up with like universal passport systems where they integrate all your passwords into one sort of program that accesses all the programs on your behalf. But I just wish everything would stop asking me to create accounts. I was playing Infamous Second Son, and there's a whole like bunch of side quests that you can only do in that game after you've registered an account with the Infamous website.
Get the hand, see what it does.
Well, normally this is the salt. I know that much.
Oh, okay.
Again, that's kind of boring.
That's not useful, yeah.
That only attacks things directly above you.
Which is not the most help. And I mean, that's... It is kind of, yeah, because I downloaded, like, I think LA Noire was on sale again. It's like, oh, I'll play through that.
Did you almost say True Detective?
Yeah. Which I would kill for a True Detective mod for LA Noire. Somebody get on
Alright, don't tangent.
And I couldn't play it without a Rockstar account, and it's just like and I mean, accounts are useful when it's a single point of access for a lot of stuff, not when there's one for literally every goddamn thing.
Holy Water I remember being good.
Alright,
I'll say
item
that.
crash it.
Okay, that was a demo of the normal brand. How we item crash it?
That did a fuck ton of damage.
Yeah,
and it keeps going. Look, it's still going. That's pretty good.
Yeah, in the normal game, in the prologue where you're Richter fighting Dracula, that basically takes him apart in seconds.
Item crash! And I mean, it gets to kind of a thing that I'm worried about, where, you know, have you ever watched Star Trek and everyone clearly has, like, 4 physics degrees? Like, just everybody. Even idiots have 4 physics degrees.
They are members of staff on the flagship of the Federation.
Well, no, but not just, like, even civilians seem to, it's like, oh, my fucking, you know, food replicator's broken, I'll just fix it. And I mean, if your microwave broke, I'm not gonna fucking touch that thing, I'll get irradiated and die. And I'm starting to feel like how it must feel to be the one idiot left in, like, the Star Trek universe, where it's like, everybody else has 4 engineering degrees, what are you doing there, champ?
No, trust me, nobody knows how everything works. But,
the
thing about the Star Trek universe is that that's a utopian society, where it's a moneyless society and everyone just exists to live in.
I always had slight... And
I guess everyone's got the time to figure out how shit works.
I suppose that's true. Give people a guaranteed minimum income or something and see if they can actually get smart.
Yes, I mean, the whole thing about giving everyone a guaranteed minimum income regardless of work, that's the sort of thing that always sounds crazy now, but maybe in like 100 years' time, we will not know how there was ever any other way of doing things.
I've got a friend who's a top student in macroeconomics at UQ. He's got an internship at the RBA, and he says that if you want to get a true, and again, I'm you know, this isn't my idea, I'm just giving you an explanation from someone who I consider reasonably authoritative on the subject. If you want to get true market price for wages, you can't just eliminate minimum wage, because there has to be something it's competing against, and the competition would be he says the competition has to be a guaranteed minimum income, because otherwise it's just a downward spiral, where, you know, you will just get people manipulating the wage from top down as opposed to bottom up. and so it'll just become pointless. So it needs competition. So that's where the guaranteed minimum. It's not as fringe an idea, is what I'm saying, as you might sort of automatically think.
Okay.
And it has that kind of weird spread where really left-wing people like it and really right-wing people like it.
Why are we talking about this?
The nature of conversation, Yahtzee.
Well, we were talking about, you know, making accounts for shit a while back.
Well, yeah, and then you got onto, like, Star Trek and the nature of, like, how they work in a moneyless society, and then you mentioned fucking guaranteed minimum income. So
well, I thought you'd brought up that Star Trek thing to illustrate
well, I did,
a point
and
about
it just,
technology.
you know, this is the nature of it. It just wanders, the conversation wanders.
Don't talk down to me.
If I was talking down to you...
Stop trying to explain to me what a conversation is.
Well, you seem to be confused. Normally you don't, like, care that much if we wander a little
I've lost track, I'm whipping skeletons. But I kind of, you know...
Well, you know, I mean, how do you feel? Like, how many account and password things do you have? And
too many.
Yeah.
I resent shit like Origin and Uplay and the infamous thing, because I don't want to have to keep giving my email address to people.
I resent them because they're not about convenience, they're about their system of control.
Oh, hey, a Bible.
What does the Bible do?
Let's find out.
That is exactly how I understand Jesus.
Whoa,
What's going on?
Crazy.
Fucking hell.
Eat my Jesus beam, creatures of the night.
I wish, like, religion was still like that, you know? Like, you read all the ancient stuff about religion and it's like aliens, like, not aliens, angels wrestling. Like, that was how the name Yahweh got found out. A wrestling match. The angel would, like, I'm pretty sure it was Gabriel, was put in an ankle lock, essentially.
Was
and
it?
Was like, alright, his name's Yahweh.
Did Yahweh have walkout music and everything?
I assume so. I bet it was, like, brilliant, and there's fucking trumpets and everything, a lot of fanfare. I bet God has amazing pyros.
Yeah, well, quite. He created the birds and the fishes of the sea.
Yeah.
They all just fly out carrying sparklers in their beaks.
Yeah, it's just doves and sparklers and just flowers and shit. Beat the band.
Fucking skellies.
Slinger!
See, if I was Alucard, I could have a shield, so I could block small projectiles.
Damn Ouija tables.
I miss Alucard. I miss his funky reverse moonwalk that he used to get around with.
So yeah, and I... Like, it's a little bit like I'm a little bit concerned, because I like Netflix. I like things like that. You know, subscribe, get access to content. But what concerns me is what happens when every cable company decides to have their own version of Netflix. Or like every cable station, you know, like, what the fuck?
It's a lady dinosaur thing, and it's getting a big face of Jesus right now.
Yeah, take that, Diploclophallus.
Yeah, eat it.
Don't try and seduce me with your dragon face.
Eat Jesus beam.
Jesus beam!
There is only one willy that will be sucked in this arrangement, foul temptress, and it will be the giant beam willy of Christ.
That's something that I've always been curious about, is like, you know how they gender God, like particularly sort of the monotheistic ones as male, like they refer to him as male. That always implies
in the patriarchy.
Yeah, that always implies to me that, like, I'd presume then that, you know, one of the defining traits of masculinity, or, you know, maleness is, like, testes. Usually. Like, testes are usually one, so I'm like, what are God's testes full of?
I think this was actually a rather serious theological question back in the day.
That's fantastic.
But then everything was.
I'm genuinely curious, what are God's testes filled with? Like, I bet it's just all new Gezi.
And shit like the Crusades was started on things like, you know, interpretations of the transubstantiation of Christ. Well, is it actually Jesus' flesh in your mouth? Or is it just a symbolic thing?
Oh, I love that. People make fun of geeks for fighting over shit.
Well, they didn't love it at the time. Everyone got murdered.
Well, no, I mean, you know, it's one of those historical perspective things where you can just laugh at old-timey people and the modern people who continue that sort of...
I don't think it's fair to laugh at old-time people. They didn't have the education we have
No,
today.
we'll say I more laugh at the people who maintain that today.
I mean, we talk about having no understanding of the technology we base our lives around, and then we laugh at people for not understanding that maybe there's not an interventionist God. Oh, I'm dead. You were distracting me with your interventionist God talk.
God intervened. He killed you. This is what happens.
God is a
This is what you get for, like, going back to the Acts from the Bible. That's what happened. You angered God.
This is what happens when you use my Bible powers too freely. God helps those who help themselves.
Jesus beam!
With a whip. I hadn't saved for a while, had I?
Christ blaster.
Yes. So, technology and stuff.
Well, I'm gonna address this. I think I'm gonna take some...
Then address away.
Information. Well, not address this now as in, like, I'm going to sum this up. I'm going to address this personally as in I'm going to amend what I think is a deficiency in my skill set. So I'm going to try and work on...
Good luck with that.
Understanding this a little bit better. Hey, I know more piano chords this week than I do last week. So I know 3. But the important thing is that's more, and it's steps in the right direction.
It's not the most practical knowledge, though, is it?
Piano.
Do you know how to rewire a plug?
I've seen people do it.
I do. My dad made a point of sitting me down and showing me how.
Isn't your dad an electrician?
Yes, he was an electrician, and I guess he felt he had to leave some kind of legacy to the world.
Well, I think that's a useful skill. I mean, knowing how to, you know...
Well, I've never had to rewire a plug.
I honestly can't see you even using a screwdriver.
No? Well, I'll have you know I once fixed a tumble dryer with a screwdriver. I was very proud of myself.
I think you're... Really? Did you manage to do that? What was wrong with it?
I found a clog.
Right, so you unclogged a tumble dryer.
Yes, but I had to use a screwdriver to get at the clogged part.
I suppose we're not a very practical people.
Oh no, but that's the beauty of living in a society. Other people have different skills that we can employ, and we have different skills that they can employ. People will... maybe that electrician will come and fix my power, and then at the end of the day he'll sit down with his e-book and read one of my books and amuse himself. This is what being in society means.
I'll teach his children.
Well, some way down the line, yes.
I'm only 2 years off. I got my first prac next semester.
I'll teach his children after I've served him several million coffees.
I'm not a barista.
Well, it's the sort of thing you might do.
No,
After you've kicked him out of a bar several times?
Oh yeah, I'll kick that motherfucker out of a bar.
Yeah, fucking electricians walking around thinking they own the place.
Well, no, just... People need to understand that bars are private property. You don't get to... If I walk into your house, and if you invite me into... Like, okay, for instance, you've invited me into your home, right?
Yes,
if I were to start taking a dump in the corner, you'd kick me out, because I have no right to be here. I'm here on your invitation. Bars are private property. You have zero right to be in one. If you behave like a shit, you get thrown out. Hell, bars can throw you out for zero reason. They don't need a fucking reason. It's private property.
Yes, it's a law very close to my heart that if you've been asked to leave a bar, remaining in the bar is a federal crime.
Yes. But no, it doesn't say anywhere in the fucking legislation for a good reason. It doesn't need to. It's never for... You just get the fuck out. Just leave. And then staying around and complaining is such a silly thing to do anyway. Just go to another bar.
Yeah. Don't mess with the people trying to keep order.
But sometimes it's kind of funny when they do.
Then you can use all the reason in the world on a drunkard, can't you?
Something I used to do as kind of a mean joke for my own amusement, really, was, you know, because, like, if you're explaining this to someone who's properly drunk, it doesn't matter. Like, they're not going to listen, they're not getting it.
No,
so
of course not.
I'll just sit there and go, okay, well, tell you what. If you can do this simple tongue twister, then I'll let you stay. Because, you know, it's a test of how drunk you are, right? And they're like, yeah, because they think now that there's a way that they can stay.
Yes.
So I'll just go, okay, repeat after me. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's a peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? And about halfway through that, they just sort of frown and realize I'm fucking with them.
You're not trying to steal my thunder there, eh?
What?
I'm the fast-talky one.
No, you're the fast-talking one when you have a script. We've discussed this.
Well, that
you've actively said it.
Well, that sounded pretty rehearsed.
Well, yeah, because it's an extant tongue twister. I'm talking about how I torment fucking drunks with tongue twisters. I'm not trying to do... It's not like Gabe's zero punctuation drunk hour, like...
It's just that my fast-talking skill is one of my few.
I am not horning in on your racket. If you started doing push-ups, I wouldn't be upset. Like, if anything, you should start doing push-ups.
I do sit-ups.
Good. Sit-ups are good. Core strength is important. People neglect it.
I ride my exercise bike, and
that's
then,
good too.
I do some sit-ups.
Stop getting hit by those...
I'm trying, he's an ass.
Seriously, I swear you are trying to get hit by them.
Alright, I'll just...
That doesn't look good, yeah.
See, if I were Alucard, those things would petrify you. And I hate that shit. Of course, the trouble with Richter's mode is that you can't heal until you get to a save point. And this particular stretch of the game is...
There's a long way between drinks.
Yes. Should I take Piss of Christ or Axe?
Piss of Christ.
Yeah, I think
it's war.
I think I prefer Piss of Christ.
People have been dying a lot lately. I mean, they have been generally, but
Yes,
people that we care about have been dying a lot
This
lately.
was my next topic. There's been an anomalously long list of celebrity deaths in recent
I'm
weeks.
next to 100% certain it won't be anomalous, and it depends on what your categorization of celebrity is.
Well, my list for today...
I mean, Mickey Rooney and Ultimate Warrior is a weird spread. Like, there's not a lot of crossover in the people who'd consider both of those people current celebrities.
Also, Peaches Geldof.
And does anyone care about her? Okay, the stabby dude killed you last time, so don't die.
Well, Peaches Geldof was a girl in her 20s. I'd say that's a pretty alarming death.
Use the piss, use the piss!
I don't want to get too piss-reliant.
Yeah, well, you died here last time, you be sensible and live.
Thank you for your disco pose, Richter.
Peaches, didn't Peaches Geldof have, like, a pretty hectic fucking drug habit when she was younger?
Well, yes, but that's because her mother, Paula Yates, also died young from that sort of thing.
I mean, I know she was...
That makes it more tragic, I find.
From what I understand, she was clean now. And, again, from what I understand from what I've read, she... You know, it's not like... what's his name? Poor Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was found with, like, a big-ass pile of heroin on and around him.
To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about the circumstances of Peaches Geldof's death, nor indeed about her life.
Well, the first thing I read was just there were no hard drugs found at the scene. So it's not like she's relapsed. But this is the kind of thing that happened to Eddie Guerrero. He was clean, but he'd done loads of, like, painkillers and steroids in his life, and that shit had just taken its toll on his heart.
Yeah, speaking of Eddie Guerrero, also Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
How
same
old?
diff.
What did he... It wasn't... I'm guessing it wasn't totally natural causes.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, steroids don't just kill you. Like, it's not just that.
There's another difference between Richter and Alucard. Richter doesn't know how a telescope works.
Damn you, squinty tube!
I mean, give him a break. This is like the 15th century or something.
God, there was a time when just the idea of, like, 2 bits of glass being able to let you see farther away was fucking wizard magic.
Well, quite.
This is what I mean, like, it's an important difference between us now and us, like, the species now and the species back then, was... These days we expect new things. Like, you could go your whole life with no major, no technological changes at all, no noticeable difference back then. Whereas now, if my phone doesn't do 5 new things every 2 years, I throw a tantrum.
Well, it's because we're approaching the technological singularity, aren't we?
Yahtzee, we're gonna fuse into one techno-mind.
Tech gets exponentially better.
Will you be part of my techno-brain, Yahtzee? Let's share feelings. Okay, Axe Knight was a bit bitch weak. You probably could have whipped him, but now we know.
Disco Waterfall. Disco Waterfall again. I'm not taking risks. I know there's a save point soon.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I replayed this fully fairly recently as Alucard.
Hey! Health. Back!
And then I played Ire of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow on Game Boy Advance and DS, respectively.
Emulators?
Yep. I quite like those games because they do the Symphony Night thing, but there's a what's it called? The tactical soul mechanic in those games.
I enjoyed that in the DS one, yeah.
If you kill a monster enough times, then you collect their soul and become and acquire a new power. Coming. Yeah, I think this is the doppelganger fight. I wonder if it's going to be Richter or Alucard.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played this far on Richter mode. Who is the doppelganger? Oh, it's Alucard. Eat it. Actually, eat this instead.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
He turned into mist. Man, your real self is much harder than you.
That was underwhelming. That was a bit like when I went and fought Naito.
The thing is, Richter doesn't level up.
Oh, so he's just badass from the start.
Yeah, he's got to make do for the whole game with the starting power.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And these are the earliest bosses.
It was like when I went and fought Naito the Grave King, or whatever his name is, in
Nito.
Nito.
He's the Nitoist boss.
I ran at him with like 4 Estus left, and I upgraded it and fixed it, so it was a plus 15 halberd. And just went apeshit on him and killed him in one, and it was over, and I was surprised.
Did you leave him for last?
Yeah, he was like the last one.
Yeah, because
no wait, I think I still have the 4 kings to go because I haven't had time to play it. So that's a problem when you're really busy. You can't sort of sit down and play games that require investment. Like, I can sit down and play like 2 matches or 5 matches of Street Fighter and then get up and go away. I can't like play 20 minutes of Dark Souls, like it just doesn't work, you know?
How busy are you?
University, I've got like fucking assessment and shit.
How much of that are you doing? I mean, because I work pretty flat out on my writing and stuff all day, but I make time for like 2 hours in the evening to play. At the moment, I'm playing Metroid Fusion, actually.
Well, I have a, you know, a rich degree of physical activity that I make sure I engage in.
Oh, right, that whole thing.
Abs! Sweet, glorious abs! On my way to abs, man.
Ha ha ha. You haven't got abs, you got a punch bowl.
No, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You do a little every day, you get your reward. You do your work, you get your reward. That's...
What's so great about abs, anyway? Just seems rather fetishistic to me.
Oh, well, no, I just need better core strength. Because I have a lumbering upper body and shitty posture because I was an idiot and didn't listen to my parents. So now I have to, like, fix that, otherwise I'm going to have bad back when I'm old. And I don't want a bad back when I'm old. I want to be spry and usable up till I die at the age of 182.
Yes, lucky. Good luck with that. Conversation, meander. Who else died? I heard, just this morning I heard Sue Townsend died as well.
Oh, God. I haven't thought about Adrian Mole in fucking forever.
I'm surprised you actually knew who she was.
Oh, the teachers used to read Adrian Mole at us and shit when I was little. I didn't like it. I was trying to read my stainless steel rat books.
Well, I had an Adrian Mole book when I was a kid. It's like a fictional diary about a fictional, artistically minded teenager whose ambition far outstrips his Jaeger talent. And I guess that's why it struck home a little.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can fit up here. Yes!
What the? What the hell just happened?
That's the librarian. I didn't know you could do that.
Seems a bit surprised. What the fuck?
I did not know you could do that.
Alright, you're not doing it right.
Never mind. Let's go and see him properly.
He's like, oh god, Richter, thank god you're here. Something just shot me.
Fucking flea men.
Reminds me of a bit in, Mulholland Drive, where these guys are fighting over a gun and it goes off, and he's shot through a wall and out the other side, and he's shot this really, really fat lady, and he kicks the door down to kill her because she can't report what's happened, and she just looks up and goes, "Something bit me real bad!" And that fucking killed me.
I wish you wouldn't shout into the mic.
Well, too bad. Ugh. What's that?
It's an ectoplasm.
Oh.
Duh. Couldn't you tell?
It looked like cancer. You're getting hit by the ectoplasm.
I know! It's lucky it doesn't give you the poison effect like it does to Alucard.
You can't play this game. You call yourself hardcore, I'm more hardcore.
Well, you're welcome to take the controller at any time, man.
I'm speaking for the inevitable YouTube boob who will
YouTube
comment
boob.
that. Boob tube.
YouTube boob.
YouTube boob tube.
That can be their name now.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Yeah.
Is this like the tongue twister show off hour? Can I do one?
Yeah,
red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry.
No, there was a bit in Fate of Atlantis. The incredibly difficult Fate of Atlantis, where there's a big hole, and it's filling its part of a puzzle, and I was, like, still smoking weed, so I was high, and I managed to make Indiana Jones just talk to the hole. And one of the things you can say to the hole is just rubber baby buggy bumpers, which apparently is some ad or something that was in the States, but I have no idea of that cultural illusion. So to me, Indiana Jones has just walked up to a hole and said rubber baby buggy bumpers at it, and that has been just etched into my fucking brain since.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving us some background on that historic phrase.
It is truly amazing. Colbert's replacing Letterman, which is amazing.
Yes, that's another topic we have. Did I tell you I met Stephen Colbert once?
Oh, tell me again.
Well, when I say met, I was in the same room as Stephen Colbert once. It was at the Webby Awards where I met Will.i.am. Remember when we talked about that? And then you mentioned Booby Booby Bum Bum.
And you laughed like an idiot for
it became a classic moment.
You corpsed so hard. You tend to do that about, like, the things that I say that make you giggle the most when we're just hanging out and talking always seem to be sort of dumb.
Well, this is my eccentric sense of humour, which I...
Say more eclectic than eccentric. I mean,
I attribute to my British upbringing, watching stuff like Reeves and Mortimer. And I've shown Reeves and Mortimer...
I think bum's a fundamentally funny word, too.
I've shown Reeves and Mortimer to a lot of people in Australia who claim to love British comedy. It's like a sort of test I have.
Reeves and Mortimer, like, you've shown me some, and... Oh, that's...
So let's see how you like the really niche, really Dadaist British comedy.
Yeah. I think, like, would you say that Reeves and Mortimer have probably a similarity to something like Big Train? Like, sort of closer to that? That's a flea man in armor.
I'd say with even more of the Dadaist nature. I mean, Big Train had more in common with Monty Python, I'd say.
There was some fucking weird Big Train sketches,
I mean, the humour in Big Train and Monty Python sort of lies in the juxtaposition of wacky happenings with a respectable, like...
Who wants to see my monkey impression?
Outward appearance, yes, that sort of thing.
Tits.
Whereas Reeves and Mortimer is just sort of directionless madness.
I do sort of... I don't know... Okay, yeah, a flea man comes out of that when you hit it. I was wondering where the flea man kept coming from.
Like a typical Reeves and Mortimer, like...
Describe it.
Moment.
Take me to there.
There was one bit in the first series of their show where they had a sort of magazine review. I think Vic Reeves was talking up a magazine called Side Parting Weekly. And Bob Mortimer was talking up a magazine called Centre Parting Monthly. And one of the features that he was impressed by was that one of the pages was made of ginger beard. And they might just start hitting each other with frying pans.
That's pretty avant-garde.
Quite, yes.
Which I do, you know, I don't know, some of it's really good. Some of it I can acknowledge as being good without personally liking it, to which I would add,
that was funny. Ha ha.
Yeah, like
I acknowledge the humor.
Yeah, there are things that are like that. I don't find it funny, but I kind of get why other people would. Like, oh god, what was the name of that fucking show? Mighty Bush.
Mighty Bush.
Yeah, I don't like that show. I kind of get why you do. And here's the thing. Everyone who says, Gabe, you'd love Mighty Bush, here, sit down and watch this episode. And I'd sit down and watch it. And then at the end of it, they'd go, oh, that probably wasn't a good episode to start on. And that's happened 4 times. I'm like, okay, look, you're going to have to find me a good episode of this then. And I kind of get, you know, I get why people enjoy it. I just don't, because I think the things that influenced them are also things I grew up watching, so it's like...
See, Mighty Boosh is one of those shows I always see in the OkCupid list, which is the list of British TV shows people in OkCupid always like.
I love your OkCupid stories.
Black Books and the IT Crowd are another 2. So
Artsy, dry penis crochet.
People say, oh yes, I love British humour, I love my Monty Python and my Black Books and my everything else Graham Linehan wrote. And I'm like, well, why don't you take a look at this Mulligan and O'Hare sketch with Reeves and Mortimer? And then they just sort of look at me.
Don't you just fucking hate fake British comedy girls?
I show it to them, and then they give me a look like I have taken something from them.
Use the piss! What are you doing?
I'm trying.
You talk about OkCupid and you just wade into enemies.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to not get so reliant on the piss.
Well, you can't just do, like, a fucking baseball slide into the horde. Like, that's not an effective...
I thought it might not stop.
Alright, fair enough. Okay, and Stephen Colbert is replacing David Letterman, which is fantastic, because I don't think anyone's really... I don't think... If you're a fan of his... of his at all... Okay, that's... Way to not rely on the piss. If you're a fan of Colbert's at all...
I was trying, it wasn't registering.
You should watch... you should probably watch Strangers with Candy, but there are also a few things like... It's hard to see Stephen Colbert when he's not in some form of character.
Yes, I heard he was going to drop his persona for the new thing, and...
The Stephen Colbert of the Colbert Report is dead. Like, he's going. He's going to be going. You fucking... What,
those guys really damage a lot.
Which is nice, because I think I don't think anybody's really had a chance to see him when he's fucking on point, and I think an interview show with some sketching and shit like that will be absolutely great. I'm so happy about that.
You know what? I will now illustrate what's so great about the Metroidvania style. I'm gonna go somewhere else for a bit.
Because I'm a big fan of Letterman. Because Letterman, they've been showing Letterman here for like 20 years, and Dad used to let me stay up and watch it when I was like 10.
I haven't really watched it at all, I'm afraid.
I like him because he's got this exhausted sarcasm, or, you know, sarcastic way of doing his work, which just entertains me. Okay. I like tired sarcasm. It always makes me laugh. And he...
yes.
Some of his best interviews have been like people going just insane on his show. Like, you look up him versus Crispin Glover or Farrah Fawcett.
Crispin Glover kind of has a thing going though.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Cruise being mad on Oprah, that was made headlines because Tom Cruise wasn't at the time perceived as a very mad person. Crispin Glover didn't have that.
No.
Crispin Glover
I'm surprised they'll even put Crispin Glover on the show.
Crispin Glover's kind of default mad.
Joaquin Phoenix versus David Letterman, that was another good one.
Crispin Glover was mad before Tom Cruise made it cool.
I love that Patrick Bateman was based on Tom Cruise. Like, not the character, but his, what's his name's presentation of him.
Hey, stop ignoring me. But you wouldn't ignore me if I was shooting up your jacksie, would you?
You have a feeling he's on his toilet and trying not to be bothered?
In Alucard's game, this was the shop.
Oh.
Where you buy stuff, but we can't have items because we're Richter. Richter forgot to bring his bum bag to put all the stuff in.
He needs a Liefeldian volume of pouches and pockets to store all of his bits and pieces.
A bum bag is what's known in America as a fanny pack. That's one of the most beautiful areas of transatlantic confusion, the meaning of the word fanny.
That is funny, really, when you think about it.
Yes. I mean, I used to use phrases like fanny magnet.
I never really used that one. Then again, I grew up in the outer suburbs, so the word cunt was pretty much about already.
You know, I like the word fanny to mean a lady's mimsy, because I think there's a certain...
Mimsy is beautiful.
There's a certain whimsy to fanny.
Whimsy to mimsy.
There's a whimsy to mimsy and to fanny.
I like mimsy. I'm gonna borrow that and see if I don't get laughed at next time I use it. I expect to get laughed at.
There's a whimsy to mimsy and the fanny's uncanny. I write poetry.
And do you put any of this on OkCupid? Because I think that's it. Whoa, what the fuck?
That I write poetry?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean I've mentioned that I write everything except video game reviews on OkCupid.
That's probably a good idea.
Although actually I'll probably stop using OkCupid soon, because after I mentioned it last week, I've been getting messages from people in like Canada and stuff, including from boys.
Well, you know.
Just want to say, hey, what's your next review gonna be? And I just want to take them by the throat and say, do you motherfuckers grasp for a moment why I would perhaps use an assumed name on an internet service?
That's great for so many reasons. Like, I can understand if it was boys hitting on you, like unsuccessful or whatever, sure, but
I'm afraid the fans found it. Like
just literally like, hey, what are you gonna review? It's like,
just
shut
like
up.
they did with my Facebook account that I reserve for social interaction in real life.
Yes, I have you on Facebook.
See, someone like I have a fake Facebook name, and someone on 4chan announced what it was, and so immediately
Do you think that was someone you knew?
Immediately
Who do you think did that?
Immediately, I got a wall of messages. Well, it had to be someone I knew or a friend of someone I knew, probably a friend of a friend or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
But immediately when that happened, I got like a wall of messages, and they all said the same thing. They said, "Hey, someone leaked your Facebook name on 4chan. See, I'm being the only nice guy and just telling you."
Yahtzee Croshaw gets nice guys. That's fantastic.
Yes. Skeleton apes. Shit.
Donkey Kong.
Also
That guy wasn't ready. He was completely not ready.
That's how you win Castlevania. You kill them before they're ready.
Hey.
That's one of the annoying things about Castlevania. Is that,
Bone musket.
You are a child. You're going to be teaching the next generation as well.
Fuck yeah. Alright, you little shits, listen up. Or Uncle Gabe's gonna rip your fucking arms off. Whoa, he looks like he means business.
I think he needs a dose of piss.
Everything scary looking in this game is kind of weak. Like, there's a disproportionate...
Only because I used the piss.
Medusa heads, fucking goddamn
I hate
things.
the Medusa heads.
Everybody fucking hates Medusa heads.
What's
this got? Pinpoint platforming. What are you gonna do? Send at me. Wave after wave of stupid little fucking skulls that knock you over.
And turn you to stone, some of them.
Yeah, you're running out low on health there,
I
champ.
know. I happen to know there's a save point at the very top of this tower.
Go Yahtzee.
I think this is it up here.
I love the idea that someone would come to you on OkCupid to talk to you about it. Like, what is knowing what you're gonna review next gonna do for them?
I don't know, maybe they could impress their friends.
It's weird.
They say, yes, I'm in the inner circle, me. Jesus piss or Jesus words?
The piss, you're doing well with the piss right now.
Yeah, I mean, much as I love the the cock of Christ.
Christ, beam! That's such an odd thing to. That's an odd thing to me. Like, what are you gonna review? You're not even gonna talk about my penis? Like I
had one more topic.
I'm gonna have sex with you and then ask you what they're gonna review. That'd be okay.
I had one more topic. Films we may or may not have seen.
Right, so I may have seen them, you will not have seen them.
Have you seen a film?
Yes.
What did you see?
Captain America!
Did you like it?
Yes.
What's your feeling of Captain America in his film representation?
I didn't like the character of Captain America much. I didn't have much experience with him.
There's not a whole lot to him, is there?
Well, that's what I thought.
See, I remember watching an episode of The Amazing Spider-Man, the 90s cartoon, and there was one episode where just Captain America showed up, and he was just this kind of... Everyone was like hyping up what a great guy he was the whole episode, then he finally showed up, and he just seemed like an absolute bellend.
Yeah,
he just said, come on, people, let's make this place safe for democracy.
Yeah. That I think is where the first Captain America movie really succeeded, was having...
Deceptively scary enemy.
Spending a lot of time with Steve Rogers when he was tiny and weak. Yes. And I think that makes Captain America make sense, and also to his credit, I think Chris Evans lends him a sense of a genuineness.
You know, even with the... Even when he's got the Captain America body, he still has kind of a dorky face.
Yeah, and that I think is what's really made the Captain America movies, is Chris Evans can really give him this folksy genuineness that he's aware is kind of silly, but it's part of him anyway. Like, he has a humor about himself and a self-awareness that makes it tolerable that he's kind of...
some writers' interpretations of Superman as a Kansas farm boy with all this power.
Yeah.
He just wants everyone to be nice to each other. And he just feels sad when that can't happen.
Part of him's aware of this sort of silliness of it a little. Like, that is the bit that I like. Wow, you can just do that ad nauseum.
Yep.
That's badass. Sure, you can your way to safety.
I wouldn't say ad nauseum.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say
ad infinitum.
Ad funnium.
Oh, cool. So is this where the save point? Nope.
This is somewhere I'm not supposed to be for quite a while.
I don't know,
And there's nothing here.
There'd be something there if you were a la carte or something, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That'd be an item or something.
Not obviously, I haven't played this game. Skullomania!
Have you considered playing it? It's good.
Huh, alright, well we're back down here, are we?
Yeah. I mean, this whole place sort of leads on to one of the more advanced early areas.
Take that, van airbrush.
What?
That's something you see airbrushed on the side of a van.
Okay, that joke took a bit of explaining, didn't it?
A bit. A modicum.
So yes, that's...
Yeah, so I watched a new movie. Yahtzee watched another version of The Count of Monte Cristo.
Well, after we talked about it last time, I was recommended the French miniseries.
Which weirdly...
I watched... it stars Gérard Depardieu in the central role. And what I did like is that it starts with him in prison and flashes back to him as the young man. And when he's a young man, he's played by a different actor. Oh, cool. Which I think makes more sense, because every other adaptation I've seen, they just use a combination of aging and youthening effect makeup to indicate either side of the 20-year prison jaunt.
Which can be a fairly mixed bag.
It can look rather absurd, yes. Yeah. And, yes, the thing about Gérard Depardieu, though, is that he has quite a colossal nose. It's quite notoriously huge.
He's like 80% nose massive.
Yeah, and the thing about the Count of Monte Cristo is that one of the things he does is that he affects different identities. And to do that in this mini-series, which consists of like 4 2-hour films, he puts on a fake nose on top of his real nose. So he ends up with this colossal snoz.
An 8.5 on the Adrian Brody scale.
He looks like a fucking proboscis monkey. It's absurd. One can only laugh.
I love the proboscis monkey. I love that exists. You just look at it, it's like, you're fucking great, you weird goddamn thing.
I love that it's called the proboscis monkey.
Proboscis monkey.
Every naturalist who sat down to come up with names for it only had one thing on their mind.
Face dong.
What's this way?
Guess we're about to find out. It's just a wall. No, there we go.
I think this might lead to the fast travel. Yes, it does. But I don't think I've unlocked any other fast travel rooms.
Nope.
So, yes, I watched Count of Monte Cristo. It does, like, end with Dante's getting back together with Mercedes, which I profess to hating.
Girls are Ricky.
It does feel a bit tacked on, but it doesn't feel tacked on the way it did in the American production.
Fucking hell.
Because the other thing they did, they add another character that wasn't in the original book, another female character to act as a sort of in vitro love interest while he's enacting his revenge.
Doesn't sound right, that sentence.
It just seems like maybe that speaks to the French attitude, that there's got to be a romance, otherwise he doesn't seem like a real man. But so, they did have the romance angle in there, but it didn't really take away from it, I found. Not so much as the nose, anyway.
He does have a huge old schnoz.
So that was what I watched.
Yeah, I watched... What did I do? I watched Captain America.
I have to think of something else
I like
to watch
I like
next
the Marvel
week.
movies, so. Okay.
Don't sell yourself short, Richter. Oh, are you trying to, like... I mean, I know what he's saying. He's saying, I can't go through here because I can't turn into mist like Alucard can. It just makes him sound like he's trying to assuage guilt. He's saying, I've got nothing to do with this wall, you can't prove anything.
Wasn't my fault.
I didn't paint that giant knob on it.
Willies.
Just call me Richter Banksy Belmont.
Owls. How long are we in?
Actually, we're only at 55 minutes.
Ah, fuck.
I knew I should have watched 2 films.
I have to do wheeze. Yeah, you really should maybe watch a film or two.
Well,
Ever.
I don't want to, get one of them Foxtel things.
You don't have to do that, Jesus.
But I don't want to torrent either.
Well, pay for, like, Netflix.
Well, you can't get Netflix in Australia.
Yes, you can. And the ACCC head said back when they did this whole big examination into how Australia pays more for digital products that Australians can legally get IP sort of blockers and shit like that. I recommend Unblockers. That's worked quite well for me, and it's $4.99 a month. And I get really fast Netflix and WWE Network, and that means I'm paying for my TV shows and I'm contributing.
See, I'm not sure I'd use it enough to justify a subscription.
You'd be surprised.
Like I said, I've been unwinding at the end of the day.
I don't think you're hurting it. I think you gotta hit its face.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I've been unwinding by playing old Metroidvania games. I've been playing Metroid Fusion lately, which I'm finding I'm not liking as much as the Castlevanias I've been playing.
I think it's a little more directed Fusion, if memory serves.
It is, and it's much more stop and start. I've always preferred Metroidvania games where your progress is hampered organically by just not being able to jump high enough. Whereas Metroid Fusion just has locked doors that only unlock after you've completed an arbitrary amount of game. And that feels like a cop-out to me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Beats not using missiles because General Dude Man told you not to.
We don't talk about Metroid Other M, as you know.
It doesn't exist, it's not a real game, it never happened.
Although it does follow on directly from Metroid Fusion.
No,
this is where they introduce the whole Adam Malkovich character. Albeit after the fact, in a sort of flashbacky kind of way.
That thing has phallus in its name.
Because Metroid Other M is supposed to be a prequel to Metroid Fusion.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I didn't know where it came in the...
I remember hearing that Metroid Fusion occurs last in the whole Metroid canon.
Huh. That makes sense, actually. Isn't there fusion elements in... Oh, no, because Prime's before all that.
Yeah, Prime is, really early in the Metroid canon, as I understand it.
Do you suppose Metroid's gonna go through another weird, 10 or 15 year retirement spell before Nintendo does something with it again?
Well, I fucking hope so.
No, I don't. I want something done by Retro or something else again. Just because, Other M sucked, but that doesn't taint the franchise.
I just kind of like new ideas. Thanks.
Oh, God, hear this again.
I think Other M might ensure it's going to have to go into a little sleepsy, like Alucard going into suspended animation until he is needed again by the world.
I love that you can go and play through, old Castlevanias and then bitch about there not being new IP.
Well, I'm not saying that and saying also give me more Castlevanias.
Sometimes it's I don't mind playing more.
I mean, if a new Castlevania came out, all I'd do is compare it to the old ones. I know.
What do you suppose? Okay, hypothetically, just as a spit talk, concept. Just what do you suppose Nintendo would do if they came up with another IP? Come up with a new Nintendo IP.
I don't know. Johnny Bird Pants, the man with birds for pants.
I've already pre-ordered 8 copies of this. Fantastic.
And he can fly once he's encouraged them to trust him as their master.
Ooh, that guy tried to stab you through the floor.
Before that, he's just got a million extremely alarmed birds clinging to his crotch. You see, he made the mistake of buying a pair of mystical boxer shorts after the mysterious shop owner said they were a chick magnet.
I was gonna say he had a bird feeder for genitals, but okay.
And then the chick magnet pants worked in the way he didn't want.
Unexpected ways!
Bloody gypsies. They're always pulling this shit.
Ooh! He just parried you with skillful pole use.
I think it's just because my whip wasn't reaching far enough.
He twirled it.
This is what we wanted.
Life back.
So yeah, I like the Metroid Fusion style less. It also seems to be where they introduced Samus doing big, annoying, emotionless monologues that made Metroid Other M so annoying. The only difference is that they didn't voice act them.
Other M. I don't know, I can't remember enough of the... I haven't played Fusion since it was first out, so... Can't remember enough of the dialogue or monologues, and I can't remember enough of
it did remind me a lot of Other M. It's just Samus saying, "The computer reminded me of an old CEO I once had who used to call me lady. It was a sign of respect. No, really."
See, that's the thing. I like her as fucking alien, because she was, you know...
Yeah, I like that.
Orphan raised by the fucking show, so I like the idea of her seeing humanity in general is just weird. And
I like that she didn't. The reason why she didn't make a thing of her gender because she had no concept of what gender was, because she'd been raised by gender ambiguous bird people. I liked that idea.
Yeah, like it makes her boring to just.
I'm always annoyed when they when they characterize Wonder Woman as a feminist. Because she was raised only in a only female society. Surely she'd have no concept of men.
She's kind of like a... I like her as the foreigner. Like, it's been done a few times where she's like just this sort of weird, very foreign, like, warrior regent who just does not understand a lot of human custom.
Yes.
And to me that makes her a little more interesting. Like, I like the sort of... I like her as the foreign regent. Like, just... Because otherwise, and you know, when they give her the sword and the shield as well, that gives her fighting style a little bit more variety than... Because otherwise she's an awful lot like Superman. Like,
otherwise she just blocked shit.
Yeah.
That's what women do. That's all women are allowed to do, protect their ickle faces.
Yahtzee, women are cock-blocking me on OkCupid, Crucial. They won't touch my penis! My seed is pure!
I'm exaggerating a position for comic effect.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you point that out.
Hey, how do I get to the succubus boss fight?
I love that there are all these rooms that clearly would have something interesting in them, were you not...
So there's no succubus boss fight in the Richter mode? I feel cheated.
Ow.
I wanted to chop up Alucard's mum.
Is it Alucard's mum?
Yeah, it's like a major scene in the original. Like, it's a succubus pretending to be Alucard's mum, and you learn a bit about his tragic past.
That's tragic.
Yeah, so after I've done Metroid Fusion, I might go back to the Castlevanias, try out that. Maybe people have been recommending Portrait of Ruin. Apparently quite good. Maybe also Order of Ecclesia.
How many are there?
Oh, tons.
Yeah,
but I'm restricting myself to post-Symphony of the Night, open-ended Metroidvania style games.
Ah.
There was quite a few before Symphony of the Night that just did, you know, level by level.
Yeah, the kind of SNES ones where it was just like, here you go.
Like the whole character of Richter Belmont and all, and the whole... actually, the outro for Rondo of Blood is the intro for this game. Rondo of Blood was a level by level Castlevania game.
Rondo of Blood. That's a terrible title.
It's Japanese. What do you want?
Rondo of Blood.
Another save point. Rolling in them.
Yeah.
Well, I think...
You don't even have health to get back.
I think we've done discussing things of the week. So it's a good thing we didn't bring up social justice warriors this week, isn't it?
God,
I made a special note at the top of the topic list. Please talk about something that doesn't lead to complaining about SJWs, you one-track twats.
You almost got there with that last topic.
Well, we're not
discussing. You got perilously close. I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it.
I'm just bringing it up at this point.
Yeah, which is... Make go to better effort to avoid this. Stop triggering.
Oh, great. Now you said trigger. You've ruined this entire hour of effort.
Oh, fuck. Now we're gonna have to delete this and start again.
Fuck. Good night, everybody.
Sleep tight.
And fuck men! Well, I guess the meaning of that phrase depends on the tone of voice, doesn't it? I mean, it's different strings. Like saying...
Why did you have to do it? Why?
Like saying kill Bart or
this one's
kill
Yahtzee's
Bart.
fault. You don't get to yell at me about this one. This one was fucking Yahtzee's fault.
Kill Bart or kill Bart.
The
and
Bart.
Also,
and
also, fuck men, or alternatively, fuck men. Am I bringing that across?
Someone have sex with him, please.
And now, Richter's back. It's the first boss.
Oh, it's the boss.
It's Slogger and Guybon.
Dude, they're fucking hurting you.
Shit.
I'm
gonna axe you a question.
It's Ornstein and Smaug.
No, it's not.
You just axed in the wrong way. Do you have any health?
I'm not used to playing Richter. I should mention. Well, I died.
And the... Oh,
yeah,
oh,
it does that.
Okay.
Emulators.
In before, oh my god, Yahtzee can't play this game. You think you're good at games? Gamers... comments in YouTube.
It has been a while. Yes, what were we talking about?
Well, I mean, so we've been reading this stuff from an external viewpoint of people who don't really understand it. Like, I don't really... I get the concept... But when you start getting into TSL and stuff like this is
all
just
we know
outside
at
my
this point
expertise.
is that some authoritative voices said, hey, maybe think about changing your passwords, but maybe you're not at risk.
Yeah, and that's mixed messages, guys. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've changed some of my passwords as a precaution.
I don't, like, should I? Like, is this because...
Well, I've been hacked before as a person in the public eye. I am at increased risk.
I got hacked once, and it just followed a bunch of people on my Twitter. I have no idea what that was meant to do or achieve. I don't...
It could have been one of them follow bot services where you pay them and they add 1 million followers to your account.
Oh, well, I have not followed or paid any motherfucker, so... Thanks, free follow bot. I feel like I've just gotten a bargain there.
Yeah, I think the essence of Richter is to use the slide more.
Slide. Okay, don't.
Or maybe not.
Ah, he picked him up. Oh, that's cunning. Alright, whatever that does hurts.
Okay, the item crash works really well, it turns out. Okay, I was making that way harder than it needed to be.
Holy buggering hell. Yeah, you need to use the axe-gasm more often.
Well, it uses up a lot of hearts.
Axes!
They've just been kind of hoarding hearts up to this point.
Yeah. Well, you don't need... Your whip seems pretty fucking brutal. You don't need to use it, I think, for regular guys, but yeah, you need... When it comes to boss time...
Hoppa again. 2 hoppas. Yes, I think we just have to accept that we're surrounded by things we do not understand anything about, because if we took the time to try to understand everything in our house, we'd never get shit done, would we?
Speaking of which, Heartbleed.
Yes, we were just looking this up before recording to try and talk about it, and we realized we didn't have a fucking clue what any of it is about.
Yeah, because there are 2 types of, like, there are geeks who like, you know, geeky shit, which I'd say would be us, and then there are nerds who understand how to work shit, and we're not them.
See, that's not the interpretation of those words I'm aware of.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, it's essentially meaningless. I'm just trying to illustrate that there is a difference. Like, we can't work this shit.
I associate the word nerd with having a passion for niche aspects of culture, whereas a geek I've always associated with the insult, like to denote someone of a socially awkward stature.
The nerd used to be an insult too, right? Like there was an entire sequence of movies made about that.
Well, yes, but I kind of prefer the word nerd. I think there's more dignity to it than the word geek.
Well, again, I don't think this discussion really matters.
Because the word geek was a term originating in carnies. Like the carnival geek was basically the lowest rung in the carnival. His job was to bite the heads off chickens.
Usually, that was how he used to treat the mentally disabled.
Yes. Well, they might not even be mentally disabled. They might have just been poor and had no other skills that could be applied to the carnival.
It was usually where you'd get people who had some sort of developmental disability, or you know, an actual sort of severe chromosomal problem that you don't get these days.
We got fucking sidetracked from that Heartbleed topic, didn't we?
It's because we don't sort of like. I understand it in superficially.
It's like, a leak of information by one of the major cryptographic programs used by the internet.
Yeah. And it's like one of the base ones, but We were reading the thing on the BBC, and someone said that it's like, hey, no, it's been like this for 2 years apparently, and no one's noticed anything so far.
And some people are saying the NSA were using it and not telling anyone. Like
yeah, which wouldn't surprise me, but then they use everything, so...
Just to pile on more garbage onto those guys.
And then, you know...
The other intelligence agencies must be breathing a sigh of relief. Phew, quick, burn the entire contents of this filing cabinet while everyone's going on about the NSA.
And
hey, it's Castle, right? I'm gonna stop his ass. And Death says, nuh-uh, and all your equipment goes away.
Death, you are not allowed to be taking sides like this. That's above, like, you know...
Well, Death is a strange fellow in the Castlevania universe.
Outside your fucking function. You're not meant to have, like, favorites.
I want everything to die. That's why I'm best friends with Immortal... Oh, wait, I haven't thought this through, have I?
Oh, nuts.
He's expanded a bit more in the Castlevania Lords of Shadow universe, where he's played by Patrick Stewart.
Neat. What's he like in that?
A bit of a twat.
Fantastic.
So, it's a bit arcane how Richter controls. You have to... The game doesn't
Double
really...
tap?
Yeah, the game doesn't really tell you any of this, but you have to double tap to run. You can also do a slide like that.
Huh, Richter's my spirit animal.
And you have to press Y to do an item crash.
A what?
I don't have any items at the moment, so he just does a little sort of pump up.
I was gonna say, that sounds very anime.
I'm one tough motherfucker. Watch out, Drac.
Okay, now you got a flaming whip. Which I saw a friend of mine do once with some kerosene. It's pretty badass.
Uh-huh. Anyway. How's your day been?
Good. Yesterday, I was on Gumtree, which is kind of like just a thing you can go on to buy shit from other people.
Yeah, it's sort of like the putting furniture out on the street equivalent of the internet.
Yeah, it's a bit like Craigslist, but without, you know, the weird shit. Although there's still weird shit, but not like just full tilt, like come over and massage me while I jerk off to gay porn, but not in a gay way, sort of thing.
You sound like the voice of experience there.
Oh yeah. There was a few, there was this one guy, like, it was a picture of, on, like, just Imgur, and it was one guy who had several ads on...
What did you say? Picture on what?
Imgur.
I've never heard it pronounced like that.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
I always say Imgur.
Oh, I don't care.
I don't know if that's right or not.
6023 is to me.
Whey!
That's awesome!
I'm gonna do that again.
Slide.
Oh, wrong way.
Can you kick people with that?
I'm gonna find out. Way! Wrong. Gabriel?
No.
I'm gonna put a condition at the front of this video.
Don't even bring it up.
If you can get through this whole thing without saying Castlevania in the way you do, I will pay for dinner.
Yahtsivania!
You lost your dinner.
Worth it.
Hello everyone, this is Castlevania Symphony of the Night that we're drowning out now.
Symphony of the Night.
This is one of my favourite Castlevanias and one of my favourite games.
What do you suppose because I enjoy them too, but what do you suppose, like, you know, how much have you thought about the appeal of being able to just wander around and whack shit, and why that's kind of fun? Like...
I don't know. All I know is that after I finished Dark Souls 2, I was like, shit, now what am I going to play when I'm listening to my podcasts of an evening?
So lonely!
So I've played through Symphony of the Night, and then I went on a kind of a binge. Played through Dawn of Sorrow and Aria of Sorrow and stuff. But for drown-out purposes here, I'm going to play Symphony of the Night in Richter mode.
Push X to input. I assume you're basing this off of comedian Andy Richter?
No.
Oh.
In this mode, you play as Victor Belmont from the main plot of the game and the prologue of the game, instead of Alucard. And this just means that you get no plot. No, you don't have to switch equipment or weapons or anything. There's no menu to change your equipment. You just run around the whole castle whipping shit.
I love, like, that's something I've noticed about the Castlevania games in general, is there's no correlation between how big and scary the monster is and their health.
I've noticed that as well.
Like, that looks like, you know, you could throw that thing in as a mini-boss for a first stage in most games. Like, what's that? It's a fucking colossal wolf. What happens? Whip it once, it's dead.
Yeah. Well, the whole purpose of this sequence was supposed to, you know, illustrate how tough Alucard is.
Fair enough.
But,
when a zombie comes along, you must whip it.
Right after this bit, he's supposed to get all his equipment taken away by death. Doesn't change the fact that the wolves die in one hit, but, You're supposed to feel
Why
powerful.
is Death taking his equipment? Like,
Because Death is Dracula's mate.
oh, really?
And
That seems unfair.
Alucard showed up saying, "Hey, this is my dad." Actually, that was just a slide, wasn't it? Hey!
Bone scimitar.
In your face, Mr. Boney.
Bone whore. Oh, it's Red Boner.
Red skeletons come back to life.
Damn.
I hate them.
Oh, you just switched it back on again.
What a klutz I am. Anyway, you were saying
You're a silly.
about a Gumtree man?
Yeah, so this lady was... Because I, need to buy stuff secondhand because I'm poor, and this lady was selling a exercise bike. And I decided,
I wondered what
hey.
that tweet of yours was about.
And yeah, she lived like 2 doors down from me. So I'm like, you know what would be ultra convenient? Just walking down the street and getting a exercise bike. And she was like, do you have a car? 'Cause it's kind of heavy. And it's like, no, it's okay. I'm large and stubborn. And so I just like threw it over my shoulders and carried this fucker home. And so my morning involved getting out of bed, putting myself on that, riding for about 5 minutes, and then doing some legwork.
Hey, Richter, does Alucard know you're sleeping in his coffin?
That's pretty cool for a save sequence. Like,
Well, it gets pretty fucking
tedious
prolonged
after,
after a few million times. That's what I liked about the later Castlevania games. They just
What's that?
bit of a frame rate
Slow
loss
down.
there. Can't think why. Must be all these flamey sprites.
That is one of my pet peeves, because emulation is not precise. I've read that the only thing that is truly emulated as SNES exactly requires huge amounts of processing power, and I don't understand how that works.
Well, you're using software to imitate hardware.
Yeah, to imitate hardware. And there's...
It is
Like, it
quite
drives me insane that a computer that I have that can run, like, Tomb Raider and Max Payne 3 and shit on full slows down on Crazy Taxi. It just
Yes.
fucking drives me insane.
an item.
I love games like this where lives are called rest.
I think we have to accept... I don't think that's lives. I'm not sure what the hell that is.
You haven't ever played a game where rest was used in place of lives? I've seen that before. I don't know if that's what it is in this, but I've seen that before.
No, it's not lives.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Yes, I think we just have to accept in today's world that we're going to be surrounded by...
Ooh.
What's this?
Ooh!
I completely forgot about this. Not that there's going to be an item in there, because we can't have items.
Why can't you have items?
Because we don't have an
Richter
item
just don't
menu.
play that shit.
We don't have an item menu. We're Richter.